Hey, what's up, good people? Welcome back to Stock Up with Larry Jones. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. I just been doing a lot of digging today. Didn't do much investing today. Just trying to look for a setup on a good play. You guys know that this is brought to you by Moo. Listen, 8.1% on your uninvested money and up to 15 free stocks, okay? 15 free fractional shares, okay? Look, I'm going to look at some things here, share some things with you on a potential setup on another play. And we're going to talk about crypto at the end, all right? So let's go right into it. I want you guys to listen to this video real attentively.
Morning, Carl. Good to see you. The S&P 500 is having its usual quarterly rebalancing today, except this time the big moves up in NVIDIA is causing some rather notable movement in some of these indices. The Technology Select Spider ETF, the symbol is XLK, it's got about $72 billion in assets under management, one of the largest tech ETFs out there. It tracks the S&P Technology Index, and it too, along with all the other S&P sector ETFs, is also rebalanced on a quarterly basis. That's today. Fairly routine, but the relentless rise of NVIDIA, it's up about 40% this quarter, is shifting the weighting for two of its top holdings in a very major way. NVIDIA will go from a roughly 6% weighting in the ETF to a roughly 21% weighting in the ETF. That's a big move. And Apple's doing exactly the opposite. It is going from a roughly 21% weighting in the ETF to 4.5%. The other major component here, Microsoft, remains at a roughly 22% weighting. Why is this happening? This is all because of federal rules that were put in place in the 1930s to avoid having too much concentration of any one stock in an investment fund, like a mutual fund or an ETF. That's what they are. They're investment funds. An index like the S&P 500 that's weighted by market capitalization has no limits on how big a stock can get in the index. It can get as big as it wants, including NVIDIA. But an investment fund, like an ETF, does have limits. That's the distinction. So under these federal rules, no stock can be more than 25% of the fund's exposure, and the combined weight of all stocks bigger than 5% can't exceed 50% of the fund's holdings. It sounds complicated, and it normally doesn't matter, but here it does. So right now, the combined weighting of Apple, NVIDIA, and Microsoft in the index is around 64%. So the ETF has to adjust its weightings because it can't have that big.
You guys heard that. 64% of this ETF, all right? This Spider ETF, right? So what can we do now that we're armed with that knowledge? What can we do? Well, this is what I did, good people. One of the things I want you to know that just like anything else, things change. So you'll notice that people always say, why do you trade the Qs, QQQ? Well, you will notice here lately, now that was a few days ago, and there's been a lot of rebalancing going on. And you will notice that Invesco QQQ, which is the blue here, just about every day now, it has bigger moves than the SPY. We do know that the QQQ is the NASDAQ. It's actually the NASDAQ 100, but a similar movement, okay? And then the SPY is similar. It's the S&P 500. But just about every day, good people, you notice that there is more movement in the Qs. And so that's why I trade the Qs. You can actually make more profits now. There's been a change, a shifting of the guards. So you could see over the last 5 days, look at that. The Qs over the last month, the Qs are outperforming the SPY, all right? So I'm not telling you don't trade the SPY. I'm just showing you why I trade the Qs, because it's actually moving even more, okay? So what I want to also show you, I went back to 2021 knowing that September is usually the worst month in the stock market, and then October we get a rebound, with the exception of an election year. During the election year, with the Dems and power, October is one of the worst months, and then we rebound to November. So I looked at this XLK. It's kind of difficult to say. It's a tongue twister. XLK, all right, this ETF. For those of you that don't know, an ETF is an exchange traded fund. Just think about a lot of stock all in one basket. That's what an ETF is. So this XLK is an ETF, okay? So now we could see I went all the way back to 2020, okay? I end here, what? In November. I should have ended in October. This one I ended in November. So you can see there was about a 14% bleed off, right, in this ETF. That was 2020, 2021. As you can see, this is where I really wanted to go to October. So from August to October, there again, there's another bleed off. I'll show you what I'm leading to. I'm looking at doing what? A put on this ETF. Okay, so look at this. When we get to 2020, so this was 2020, 2021, this is 2022. In 2022, we had from August 22nd to October 22nd, we had a 23% bleed off. Okay, and then this is 2023. We had about a 12% bleed off from July 23rd down to October 23rd, right? Now, the reason I brought that up is big tech. You see what's heavily weighted in this fund, right? Let me see if I can pull that back up. You can see what's heavily weighted in there, right? It's tech, 63%. Right, it's heavily weighted in tech and in those four companies. So what's going on with tech right now? It's very expensive. It is overweighted right now. And I believe that this is an election year that we will have a bigger sell-off of this ETF leading up to October, right? So we could do put options on this ETF, all right? I just wanted to get a setup going before it actually happened. And the ticker symbol is XLK. So bleed off leading into. But here's what I want to show you. If there is a huge sell-off, I'm actually getting in, not just for an option, but I am getting in just to hold this ETF, especially with it being so heavily weighted in tech and AI. Because as you could see, it is a ladder that continues to climb. Look at that. It is climbing really, really good. And so this will be another one that when it sells off, right, we could ride it back up from October to November. This is what I'm planning on doing. And then if there is a major upset or sell-off after that, I'm going to load back up, not on options, but just on the ETF itself and add it to my ETF portfolio. Okay, so guys, tell me what you think about that. That is ticker symbol XLM. And I also wanted to point out why the Qs are outperforming the SPY. QQQ. So I do calls on the QQQ. I do puts on the QQQ. And that's how I get comments like this. People making 400, 500% on the QQQ plays. If you really, really want to learn how I think and how I come up with these plays, then make sure you download Stock Up University, where you will see my psychology trading. You will learn how to do options. We take you from beginners and into making money. We keep it simple, all right? And so come join us with some of these hot plays. Speaking of hot plays, this is where I left off with that Donald J. Trump play on yesterday, up 450%. I took just under $300 and turned it into $1,200. Look at that. A profit of $1,000, $998 to be exact. Why? We wait, we see what the market is going to do. We don't force it. We don't overtrade. Now, I have I had more positions in another portfolio. It's just something I do. I find a good one and then I move to another portfolio and I do the same play. Okay. That's just something I do. All right. Anything I say is not suggestion for you to buy, hold, or sell. So if you want to make gains in plays like these and not wait on me, then, just go ahead and take the class. There was someone that emailed me and they knew I was going to get in the play. They got in earlier than I did and they made 700% because they got in earlier. They said, hey, I thought this looked like one of your plays, so I got in. All right, let's keep it going. Let's go to crypto right quick. Let's see what crypto was doing. We see a sea of green. Look at that. We love to see that. Now, for the hour, cools off, but for the day, look at that. Fields of gold. That's what I say. This looks good to me. Very, very good to me. Looked at my portfolio and I love to see the green. You can see with 24%, Brett, 26%, Pepe Le Pew up. We could see all of that, right? We've had a not so good month, right? But the week is starting to come back and look good. What do we got going on here? Let's look at Bitcoin and the altcoins. Bitcoin is up 3%, and look at the altcoins. ETH is up 3.6%. We got Solana up 8% at the time of this recording. Doge is up, all right? And then let's go to the memes. We know the memes are really popping, right? So the memes over the last 24 hours is, look at that, Doge up 10, Pepe up 19, Dog with Hat up 24%, Brett 25%, Bonk is up 14%. You see it. And so why? Because, we were looking at that 60K as a level of support, right? We were looking at 60K and we needed it to stay above 60K. We're at 61.8 right now, almost 62K. But a lot of analysts were calling the last couple of days a buy, right? And some a strong buy. With me, you know what? Crypto's like that dog that may bite you, right? And so I continue, like I told you guys, to add to my positions, all of them. I bought a ton of bunk. I'm just telling you, not a ton. Let me bag that up. I doubled down like I said I was. Remember, I said I was going to take the following 2 weeks, the further 2 weeks, and bring that in. And over those 3 days of last weekend, I was going to double down. Well, I did. I just continued it because it started going even lower. But I just had a little faith that this was not going to be the end, okay? And so I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen next week. It's crypto. It's very volatile. Make sure you don't fall for any spam in the comment section. All I know is you have to be brave when things look bad or bleak with crypto if you believe in it long term. And I was prepared that if crypto winter was about to start and we were going to have the sell-off, mark up, mark down. If we were going to be in a markdown phase, I was ready to hold for another 4 years. So don't invest money that you can't hold for another 4 years, all right? Don't invest your mortgage money, your rent money. Don't do that. That's just not wise. But let me know what you think about anything I said today. But remember, time is running out. 10 free fractional shares, 8.1 on Moomoo on your uninvested money. So just put, some money in Moomoo and get 8.1% fixed. That means that you don't have to do anything and it's no risk. And then if you really want to kill it, then go ahead and download Stock Up You, where you can win with stocks and crypto. All right. On this video, those will be the only two links below. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Live, love, laugh, and learn.